This is a mess. And we are gonna need to talk about it more. But I believe you.
Okay.
I'm sorry I doubted you, John.
Gosh, Bruce, I'm overcome. I'm sorry I doubted you. But I feel so much better now that we've hashed this out. We've got to catch up with Harley before these murderous agents find her.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what's
She's got
gonna happen.
explosives and
This
the
relationship
virus.
is a
If they
ticking
start
time
shooting,
bomb.
Things could get really exciting. Oh boy! If I had known these were your wheels, I never would have stolen that beater.
Welcome to the live stream, AZ Namine dude. We did lie to him about the fact that we were undercover, Hark. It's kind of worse because we were still friends with him. Well, that I couldn't actually choose. I'm talking about the choices that Telltale actually gave us. All of the discussion choices, dialogue choices. I picked all the ones that basically said, hey, we trust John and we're John's friend and all that, for the most part. And I think that should count for something because we actually had the choice about it. So I'm not talking about the parts of the story where we didn't have a choice.
I'll blow this bridge to hell if you don't give me Riddler's blood!
Can't do it, Quinn. Even if I wanted to.
I mean it! The bridge and every sad son of a bitch on it!
The blood is gone! The serum you want is no longer an option! Stand down now! No one needs to get hurt!
Oh, Harley's gonna get hurt.
I said get back!
You're gonna kill her, Bruce! You're gonna shoot first and ask questions later! I can't just stand here and do nothing!
So do something.
We can't let that happen!
Don't do anything stupid.
John, don't do anything stupid.
Stupid? Me? When have I ever? I'm going to try not to be offended, Bruce. You know how I feel about personal insults.
The day I met you, you started a riot in Arkham.
See how well that worked out? You'd still be in there if it wasn't for me.
Wayne, about time you showed up. What in the good goddamn is he doing here?
Director Waller, John Doe's, been aiding Bruce's investigations.
Yep.
This creature's with you?
Don't call him that. John is a friend.
Amanda Waller, meet John Doe. He's a trusted friend.
I'm here to defuse the situation.
I have my doubts, but hell. At this point, I'll try anything.
Good. Stand aside.
Harley's making demands we simply can't meet.
Stand
Her
aside,
detonator's
Amanda.
on a dead man's switch. She lets it go. This bridge is history. This situation is rapidly spiraling out of control. I'm running out of options.
Okay.
Harley is heading towards a cliff, and she's gonna drag all of us with her.
You're not helping by having your men close in on her. If anything, you're provoking her to violence.
The time for talking is over. All she wants is Riddler's goddamn blood, and that's gone. One of my own people destroyed it. Someone inside the agency.
Oh.
The serum Quinn wanted to make is off the table for good.
Okay.
Why don't we let Bruce try negotiating?
Why me?
He's spent a lot of time with Harley recently.
Why me? Why am I
Give it a
always
shot,
doing
Bruce.
it?
See what you can do.
I thought John was gonna do it.
Stand down, people. Let him through.
Why is it always on me? Hi, Harley.
Well, well, well. Bruce Wayne!
Yeah, let's get down to
Harley?
business.
Never thought I'd see you again. Thought you'd cut and run after your cover was blown. All I want is Riddler's blood. I get it. I leave Gotham for good. That agency hellbeast says she don't got it, but I know she's lying through her teeth.
Serum won't help you.
Her people took it from the lair.
The serum you're trying to make, it doesn't do what you think it does.
How do you know about that?
Because I looked into it. It does as much harm as it does good, maybe more. Harley, you're a doctor. You have to understand. It destroys your brain chemistry.
Uh-huh. Sure. You're gonna tell me you love me, Wayne?
Excuse me?
I like a little romance when I'm getting screwed. I'm holding all the goddamn cards. Either they give me what I want, or I play the one that goes boom! I ain't fooling around. I'll do it without a second thought.
I know why you're doing this, Harley. If you're afraid of inheriting your father's illness, I can help you find a cure.
What did I say when I first brought you to the subway? Never bring up my dear old dad again!
Bruce, what the hell are you doing?
Tough.
Harley does not like talking about such personal things.
Well, Harley is running out of options here.
Stand down!
The truth hurts,
Bruce,
dear.
keep on like that, she's gonna lose it.
So talk to her.
Puddin'?
Let me talk to her. I know her better than anyone.
Go talk to her.
I'm so glad you're here, baby.
We'll see how this
That
goes.
beats want
Sorry.
my head
And if
on
this
a
doesn't
stick.
work out, I'm sorry,
You can
Gotham.
do it, John. I believe in
I'm
you.
sorry, Gotham, but we'll
Won't
see what
let you
happens.
down.
All
I
right.
have everything worked out. Up here.
Okay, go ahead.
Trust me.
Mostly because...
I learned from the best.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
just
Oh, boy.
Just what?
No, I'm gonna let him go. Just do your...
I'll figure something out.
I'm just gonna let him do what he's gonna do.
Hey, don't worry about a thing.
I'm not gonna tell him what to do.
With all these people watching, how can I not live up to the occasion?
We'll see what he does when he... I'm not gonna give him any advice. I'm just be like, just give John the faith.
Those
to-
two reprobates getting their heads together is a recipe for a disaster.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna see how this plays out.
What were you thinking?
Bruce wanted
Give him a chance.
John said it himself. He knows her better than anyone. As long as he keeps her talking, there's still a chance she won't blow the bridge.
There's truth in that. Not enough to inspire confidence, but it's better than nothing.
Yep. We'll see how it goes.
I don't like the look of that. Not one bit.
Are they making up again?
You gotta be kidding. This is going south. We're gonna shut this down right now.
If we interfere now, we could push him right back into Harley's arms.
If we don't, everyone on this bridge will die. Stand by to move in, people. Alpha team, move into flank. Take your positions.
I have
Look
to.
for a clean
I
shot.
have to stay in. If we're
hell do you
if we're
think you're
trusting
doing?
John, we have
Trust
to
him
go all
more.
in.
I'm telling you, he'll come through.
We have to go all
With a
in.
marriage proposal, maybe. Not a successful resolution to the crisis at hand.
We have to.
You
stick
need to have
with it.
faith. Stand down.
You backstabbing piece of crap!
Don't struggle, Harley. I think you're a fighter. They're gonna put you in the hole.
I'm gonna rip your head off, you two-diamond son of a...
Wow.
Get her out of
Good
here.
job, John.
How could you, John?
Good job, John.
You broke my heart.
Bruce showed me how to be good, Harley. In a way you
Oh, John, I'm so proud.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Doe. You did a great job.
Good, John.
The virus, please.
Uh-oh.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone should have this. Least of all you.
He's not wrong.
Well then, we'll no longer be required.
Oh, no.
No!
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
You betrayed me after I saved the day. You
Oh,
agency
it just
people.
went to south.
You're
It
just
just
the
went
worst.
south. That was all
Find
Amanda's
that
fault.
And
All
get Quinn in the
Amanda's
truck
fault.
immediately. Where's Wayne? I want him secured.
Amanda, you
You have
effed
to.
up big time. You effed up big time. Yeah, I have to clean up your mess, so get out of my way. Sorry, cleanup crew. Don't shoot him! Stand Stand down. You guys didn't do anything to help with the situation. Oh my.
Thanks, Brute. It's good to know you have my back.
Oh.
John?
You corrupt pigs. You're supposed to stand for justice. But you're liars. And you're murderers. And you're so...
I think we know who the villain is in the 5th episode.
What the heck? What's wrong with this thing?
You were about to blow up the bridge, John. Come on.
Work! Yes! That's what I want to see!
Now we have a problem. We triggered him. Now we have a problem.
You and me. Damn together. You're all going to pay for your crimes. Batman and I, we're going to bring you all to justice.
Why can I not move?
It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh, John. This is all sorts of messed up. There he goes. And episode 5. Oh, Amanda Waller, look what you did. Ah, wow. We had a moment to be proud. You and 74.4% players left Waller livid. Well, I really could care less what Amanda Waller thinks of us. Didn't care about what she thought of us in episode 1. Don't care about what she thinks of us in episode 4. Waller was supportive when you showed focus in going after Harley. You irritated Waller when you said she shouldn't use the Sanctus text. She became livid after you sided with John on the bridge. Every chance I have to troll Amanda Waller, I'm taking it. You and 55.1% of players left Tiffany feeling reflective. Tiffany felt solemn after learning about Batman's code. You left Tiffany feeling reflective after your discussion about Batman's code. That is a very interesting discussion. You and 49.4% of players left Avesta feeling determined. She was relieved that you didn't hold the fact that she told Waller your identity against her. She was understanding about your pragmatic approach to Batman's code, and she was determined after she talked to you about destroying Riddler's blood. You and 63% of players set John down the path of being a vigilante. I guess vigilante versus vengeance. I guess that's better than the alternative, I think. John was despondent when you told him Harley betrayed both of you. He appreciated that you allowed him to leave to find Harley by himself. You have earned John's trust, and he has vowed that the two of you will clean Gotham up together. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. But John, you really shouldn't have tried to blow up that bridge. That's a big no-no. That's a huge no-no. You and 75.1% of players left Alfred feeling proud. Alfred was reluctant when you addressed his illness. You left him feeling resigned when you didn't address his mention of a vacation. Alfred was proud when you advised Tiffany thoughtfully about Batman's code. Did you lower the temperature for Mr. Freeze? Like, a resounding majority of people did what I did and showed Mr. Freeze compassion by lowering the temperature in the airlock. Again, I feel like Mr. Freeze is one of the Batman villains that I have the most empathy for, because I understand that his motives are pretty much about saving his wife, which I think is not a bad motive at all. Did you trust John to find Harley by himself? You and 87.2% of players told John that you trusted him to find Harley by himself. And I guess that's it. Those are all the major choices I had to make, apparently. So now, guys, this is the time for you to tell me what you thought about this episode, and if you have any questions, especially if it was during the chats and I didn't get a chance to answer those questions. This is the Q&A session. You can ask me pretty much anything and everything that you want, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So my thoughts on this episode, I liked it. Definitely the scene in the funhouse was probably my favorite. The way that they set that up was really creepy. If you guys want to tell me what happens when I, you know, turn the crank on the Jack in the Box, feel free to tell me that. And then the scene between John and Bruce got really intense, but it was also really frustrating because it just seemed like it defaulted to John being upset at us and blaming us for not being a good friend to him, regardless of how many options we chose that actively made us befriend him or show that we were at least trying to be as truthful to him as possible and trust him as much as possible. So that was a bit frustrating, and it is something about a big major flaw that I see in almost every single Telltale game, because it cheapens those options a lot. If the text says so and so will remember this, then so and so should really remember that. You know, they should, and I feel like quite often the so and so will remember this is a lie sometimes. And you know, I love Telltale to death, but you know, I will call them out on things. I'm not afraid to call them out on things. Companies I love, I call out on things and say, you should do better than that. Shame on you, Telltale, for that. But overall, I enjoyed a lot. I'm really curious to find out how the beginning of the episode would have played if Batman was stuck in the death chamber instead, which I think is pretty easy to find because I think majority of people put themselves in the death chamber instead of Catwoman. But I mean, I think part of the reason why I put Catwoman in the death chamber is because I had enough respect for her to feel that she was resourceful enough and strong enough to be able to get her out of that situation, and she didn't need anyone to help. She didn't need anyone to rescue her. She can take care of herself in that situation, and she did. So more mad props to Catwoman. I have no idea if we're going to see her at all for the rest of the game. We'll see. The ship stays alive. This was all Amanda's fault. Is Amanda the character from the Suicide Squad movie? Yes, she is. Hark has become John's Harley. Hope John's a good swimmer. That's a nod to Heath Ledger's Joker when the bomb doesn't go off, which I believe actually was a blooper that they kept in the movie. I think when they were actually filming that part with Heath Ledger, he clicked the thing. It didn't actually go off right away, but Heath Ledger stayed in character. Even when it didn't go off, he just kept going like this, and it eventually exploded. So I kind of like that was a nod. I don't know if John's methods would be that great, but at least he's on your side for now. So silver lining, we need an Alfred Vacation DLC to relax. Yes, let's have a Batman beach episode. That'd be amazing. AA, what series of the Batman series you like the best by Telltale? I kind of still like the first one better. I kind of like season 1 of Telltale's Batman a little bit better. I think I enjoyed the villains more. And I just really like the intrigue of, all the twists and turns of people that you thought were traditionally good characters ended up being bad, and vice versa. So this is a good season, don't get me wrong, but I think I still like the first one more. And plus the first one had Harvey Dent. So still need to play Raccoon and Phoenix Wright. Wink wink, I know. Take your time, though LA Noire would be cool. I don't know about the music copyright, but yeah, I've heard about the copyright issues too. Maybe it's like Season 1 Kenny. It could be. I also heard Spelunky and Owlboy is cool. I love this episode. A lot of different scenarios can happen depending on your relationship with John. I will support this ship until the final episode. Now I gotta go, guys, as per usual. Work to catch up on. Love you guys and love you too, Hark. Bye, guys. See ya, Boast.ag. Glitch, what are your thoughts on the upcoming game from Quantic Dream? Are you planning on LPing it? Very good question. So, I think it's called I Am Detroit or something along those lines. I am looking forward to Let's playing that game. games from Quantic Dream have always been games that I've thoroughly enjoyed. Heavy Rain, I absolutely adore. I loved. I had a lot of fun with Beyond Two Souls as well. So I definitely am curious about how this next chapter is going to be. I do know that there is a lot of controversy, though, about Quantic Dream overworking their workers, which unfortunately is not unusual at all in the gaming industry. A lot of people growing up, my friends and I, because I mean I was a software engineer, computer engineering major in college. It sounds cool to be able to work for a video gaming company, but the reality is, a lot of people say if you enjoy playing video games, don't become a video game programmer, because it is one of the most overworked white collar jobs, I think, because you do have to work vigorous long hours. And it got so bad with Quantic Dream that I think a bunch of the wives of their husbands who just weren't coming home from work, they complained. And I don't agree with that. I think that it's a problem that so many of the video game industry is guilty of. And mad kudos to these women, these wives, to speak up about it, because I think it's very important. So is it going to prevent me from playing their game? I mean, I'm not going to boycott the game because of it, but I think that Quantic Dream as a company and David Gator, not David Gator, I'm sorry, the person who's in charge of Quantic Dream, I forgot who the gentleman's name is, but they need to really think about how they're treating their employees, because that's not cool. Let's see. I think Jacksepticeye threw Selena under the bus too. Yeah. I just want to know what his reasoning was. Did he ever give a reason why? Because it sounded to me, since he romanced Selena, it sounded a little out of character. At least for me, it was pretty consistent. So I'm curious what his reasoning was. Maybe Enchantress will appear, or Deadshot. Am I the only one that finds it strange that they're doing the whole, oh, John loves Harley, but he says all these things to Bruce and it's like he's bisexual or something? I think it's interesting. I think there definitely is a very bromancy thing going on between Bruce and John, and I think that's purposeful. And I think it's interesting. I don't think I'm bothered by it necessarily. Type dating sim also looks cool. I don't know about the release date though. Okay, I'll take a look at that. At the very least, the art is solid. Is there any indie games coming out that you look forward to? Yeah, so I think I've talked about Eldet. Eldet is an indie game that is coming out, that is an LGBT game of color, an adventure, a fantasy game, graphic novel, or visual novel, excuse me. It's a visual novel game that I think will be coming out later, in late 2018. Another indie game that I am very much looking forward to is a game that is being made, I believe, by the same person who made Stardew Valley, which is like a Harry Potter-esque, Harry Potter, like you're a wizard in a wizarding school kind of thing, but in a Stardew Valley style of gameplay. I'm looking forward to playing that. That's upcoming. In terms of indie games that are coming up as a let's play for me, Finding Paradise is something that's coming up very soon. Before that is A Bird Story, which is, I guess, a pre-sequel to Finding Paradise, which is a sequel of To the Moon. And then there's going to be a couple of visual novel dating sim games, or visual novel games that I've already recorded that I'm going to be releasing on my channel. One is Solstice, and the other one is Airs and Graces. So that's coming up soon. Good question. Have you heard of Marble Hornets? I need to catch up. Never finished, but it was good for what it was, even though I'm a wimp with horror stuff. It's a Slender Man thing. It's more psych horrors than too jump scary heavy. Never heard of it. Not gonna promise I'm gonna be playing it, but I'll check it out. Like I said, it takes a very, very specific type of scary game, like Until Dawn, for example. It's a very specific type that would actually get me to be interested in actually let's playing it. I didn't know that A about the game. I didn't know that about the game software jobs. Yeah, it's pretty well common knowledge, I think, with many people with many programmers, that video game industry, many of them, I'm not going to say all of the video game companies are like that, but for many of them, the software people tend to be overworked, notorious for being overworked and having to work very long, late hours so that they can meet their deadlines. That's why I always have, it's a pet peeve of mine. It's always a pet peeve of mine when people whine that a game that they're looking forward to isn't being released sooner. They're like, why is it taking forever to release this game? Why do they keep pushing the release date? All that stuff. That annoys me because as a programmer, as a computer software engineer myself, I know how hard it can be to develop software and how long it'll take and how long it takes to make bugs, to fix bugs. So whenever a game gets pushed, when they push their release date, I applaud them for it, because it means that they are trying to take that extra time to polish the code and to make sure the game is as bug-free as possible. Many people complain. Many people whine, in my opinion, complain when a game gets delayed. And I'm like, don't complain and whine. Because you'd be complaining and whining like so much more if they released the game as it is and it's got all these bugs and all of this stuff that X and Y and Z. Because I think there's a lot of games that were pushed out too soon. And if you think about it, who does that affect if they're pushing out a game too soon? It's the programmers. The programmers have to work longer hours, weekends, late at nights to meet their deadline because their managers are hounding them and saying, this is the release date of the game. We have to release the games on this date, and we're not going to push the date. We're not going to delay the game. You have to get this done. That's a problem. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like it when people get upset when a release date of a game gets pushed, because I'm thinking about the developers, and I'm thinking about the programmers who are working so hard to make that game as best as it can be for you. And if they didn't push that game later, then they would be working even harder, and they would be away from their husbands, wives, family even more, just so that they can get that game into your hands on the date that you quote unquote prefer having it. So that's a little bit of a rant from me, but I'm just more of a, just think about that the next time, you might feel like you're getting upset that a game is getting delayed. You should be grateful. You should be very grateful that a game is being delayed, not upset, in my opinion. I think it's the company who published Stardew Valley, but Concerned Ape itself isn't directly involved or something. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for clarifying, Beto Kiss. My friend is actually working on a visual novel. I'll link it to you if it ever gets finished. He said it'd be free though, so it should be fine. Also, Tim is a cutie from it. Marble Hornets is a web series, not game. There's actually this one channel called Night Mind that does summaries analysis about it. Would you be interested in playing Quantum Break soon? Quantum Break is a game I've always been interested in playing. Is it out on PC? Because if it is, I'm very interested in Let's Playing it. Very, very, very interested. And reacting to the video, and reacting to the episode that comes out from it. So yeah, hopefully it's on PC, and then if it is, I'd love to be able to Let's Play it. Do you think Telltale has the potential to create a great choice-making game that doesn't have the same style to their games? Like the games are portrayed as a walking simulator and make choices. I think they could evolve their games to make it somehow greater. This is a conversation I had with a friend, and with how it's always the same concept every time. What do you think? I think Telltale should try to push the envelope a little bit more. I think they're pushing their technology of their engine And I feel like they should experiment and they should try to break the formula a little bit, just to try something new. So yeah, I'm all for them trying new things and challenging themselves in that way. Man, I don't know if it'd be co-op, but it'd be interesting to your action doing a couple matches in that new Dragon Ball Fighter Z game. Yeah, people complain about Dragon Age 2? It was enjoyable for what it was, even if it's not as polished as some of the BioWare's other stuff. Yeah, Dragon Age 2, they should have pushed. They tried to crank that out a year after Dragon Age Origins, and they really should have. EA should have let them take another, at least 6 months, at minimum, another 6 months to develop that game. Because I think Dragon Age 2 could have been so much better if they did. I mean, I still think you're getting your money's worth playing these games. I do understand the limitations they have, but I can't help feel that I'm doing the exact same thing with each game. No, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly valid. Have you heard of Kitty Powers? They're a drag queen game dev. It'd be cool to see you do an interview with them. Though their games have been created are more casual rather than story heavy, but it's amusing to see some of the LPers play it. I've never heard of Kitty Powers. I'll check it out. I'm very neutral when it comes to drag queens. I don't like nor dislike drag queens. They're just there. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. People are giving a lot of buzz to Death Stranding as well. Not sure when it comes out. All I know about it is that it's made by Hideo Kojima, the Metal Gear Solid guy. I don't think I've heard about that game either. Yeah, Quantum Break is out on PC. Cool. That'll most likely be a game I'll be playing soon then, relatively soon. Would love to try that. 2064 Read-Only Memories is also cool. It's sci-fi-ish with Clem's voice actor in it. Oh, neat. Huh, I'm gonna have to check those out too. Cool. This is your last chance, by the way. Last call for any Q&A questions that you guys have. Any predictions for episode 5 since you went down the vigilante path for John? I'm hoping that they don't pull a Harvey and make it so that John always becomes the Joker at the end. That John always becomes the villain. I think that right now John is in a place where he's not, I wouldn't call him a villain per se. I think he has a very, he's sick. He has this, he can't help himself. He's got something's not quite 100% there up in his head, and his morality is skewed. I think he wants to do the right thing, but right now a lot of his morality is based on a very animalistic. He's got a very animalistic nature. You know, he does things and sometimes it's brutal, but for the sake of self-defense. And I don't condone the actions that he does. Like, I certainly don't condone the fact that he was trying to destroy that bridge. The big fault I have with John is that I wish he cared more. I wish he cared about people more. I wish he cared about innocent people more. And quite often he has verbally said he doesn't actually care. And, you know, there is a sense of selfishness in there. I don't think he's always out to look for himself and only himself, because he does show that he has concern for people like Bruce. Like, he cares about Bruce, and he's concerned about Bruce's well-being, in addition to Harley. But I think that it's more challenging for him to care about people that he doesn't know very well. If he's not friends with you, if he doesn't have a close relationship with you, he could care less if you blew up on a bridge or not. And that is not cool with John. That is something that I think we can help John with, but it's something that I don't condone. But I don't think that makes him a villain per se. So my hope is that if you make certain choices, you can stop John from being full-fledged the Joker. Hopefully. If he becomes the Joker anyway, I'll be very disappointed. That's really all I want from the next episode. And that and Batgirl, Tiffany being Batgirl, they're taking their sweet time and dragging their feet with that. I want my Batgirl in Telltale games now. What is your opinion on Force Awakens and Last Jedi? Very good question. I love them both. I understand. I really love the use of humor in the second one a lot. I like that they did a good job of making you think that something is going to work out a certain way, and it completely does not. There are a bunch of places that are not, I mean, I guess you could call them fake outs in the second one, in The Last Jedi. I'm trying not to get spoilerish, but there is something that they were trying to do for there's something that was a thing for 45 minutes, and they focused on, this is a big plan that we're going to do, and we're spending 45 minutes to tell the story of how we're planning on doing this, and then executing it. And then at the end of it, you think it's going to go a certain way, and then it doesn't go a certain way. And I really like that, because I feel like it completely challenges your expectations. I can understand why other people wouldn't like that, though. So I personally enjoyed it a lot. I liked the cute creatures. I forgot what they were called, but I know that's a big thing. And I know people can easily get annoyed by them. I felt like they were used the right way. I felt like they were on the screen enough so that they could be cute, and then they took them off screen before it became too much. I thought that they balanced the use of those cute creatures very well, and I felt like it was the perfect amount. Just enough that they were there to give the comic relief that they needed to give, and then they moved on. I think I'm partial, but I definitely was hoping that there was a Poe and Finn. There was a Poe and Finn bromance thing going on, and then something happens in the movie that sort of challenges that. So that disappointed me a little bit, and I admit that's more of a personal disappointment. It doesn't necessarily something that I think other fans necessarily need to share. I don't think it's necessarily disappointing other fans need to share, but I felt like it would have been a fantastic step for a mainstream movie like Star Wars to feature a couple, like a romantic couple like that for once, and not have it be a big deal of a thing. Like, they address that it's a thing, but don't dwell on it. You know what I'm saying? Address it, just the fact that it exists, but don't spend all too much saying, oh, look how progressive we are because we've got this type of relationship going on. So I feel like that would have not necessarily been a missed opportunity if they didn't do it. I just thought it would be a great opportunity if they did do it. And yeah, so that was the other one of the only major disappointments that I had with The Last Jedi, and I know I'm not everybody shares that as a disappointment or even cares about that to be a thing, but that was just my personal thoughts on The Last Jedi. Opinion on Kylo Ren? I'm sympathetic towards him. Kylo Ren, I'm about as sympathetic to him as I am about John Doe in this game, because he's very unstable. I'd like to believe he's coming from a good place, and I don't think in his core he's a bad guy. Hopefully we can turn him around in the next episode. Hopefully, is my hope. He's madly in love with Harley, no pun intended, so the obvious solution is to seduce him. I just hope Telltale doesn't screw that up and actually make John an anti-hero for a different twist instead of a villain, because as someone who played the Arkham games, it's overrated. I understand that. I'm not super into Star Wars, but Finn is cute. Finn is cute. I think Poe is cute too. I wonder how much influence the forums have for the staff writers. I don't think there'd be too many people upset about Joker not being a classic villain, versus John Doe seemed popular on his own. If they make a series of 3 of Batman, what villains would you want to see? I would love to see in a one Batman villain that I always was intrigued by, and I wish they used more, is the Batman villain with the ventriloquist dummy, because that always creeped me out, but in a good way. I remember those episodes in the Batman animated series, and I remember just being so intrigued by that villain, because you have this unassuming ventriloquist who seems like a decent enough guy, and he's controlling this puppet. And so there's the question of, is it really the puppet that is the evil entity, or is it this ventriloquist who is actually controlling the puppet? It's that. So I mean, that villain is a villain we haven't seen a lot, because I mean, we've seen a lot of the Joker, obviously, and the Penguin and Catwoman. Well, Catwoman's like an anti-hero. Mr. Freeze and the Riddler, and Poison Ivy. But I think villains like that we don't get to see much about. So that would be one villain I thought would be very interesting. Scarecrow would be interesting too, but we see a lot of Scarecrow in the Batman movies, in the Batman films in general. I'd love to see Poison Ivy. Heart eyes. Oh, Poison Ivy's great. And she's a ginger. She's a redhead. So, I mean, come on now. Hark, have you been watching any food shows? Worst Cooks in America season is amusing so far. The editors are having fun with the other series from what I've seen. Worst Cooks in America is something I've always loved watching. I haven't seen past season 1. I wish the seasons were available in Netflix, because I would watch the snot out of Worst Cooks of America, but I don't think they're available on Netflix. I watched a few episodes of MasterChef on YouTube, but recently I really got into the British baking show. I must have been like sleeping under a rock for the last 4 years, because I didn't even realize that the British baking show was a thing. And several of my friends who aren't even foodies told me that that was a show they really enjoyed and that I needed to watch. So I've been sort of binging that show a lot. I enjoy those. I mean, I enjoy those kind of shows. I enjoy Chopped. I enjoy the cooking shows that are not super drama filled, you know, that doesn't focus so much on antagonizing, you know, each other and being so competitive that there's like a drama disaster train all the time. That's not entertaining for me. It's not what I enjoy when I watch shows like that. So the cooking shows where you're legitimately just watching people compete and hoping to watch them have a good cook, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch that. I don't want to watch all the drama. I don't want to watch Gordon Ramsay, you know, cursing other people out. That's just not entertaining for me. But I like it when, you know, Gordon Ramsay. I do like it fine when Gordon Ramsay is actually being reasonable with his critiques and actually mentoring, as opposed to, you know, cursing people out just for the drama of TV. That's what I don't like. If they bring Harvey Dent back for season 3, how should he be introduced? I think they need to introduce him in such a way where it mattered how you treated him. You know, if you tried your best to believe in him and believe that he actually is a good person underneath, I would love to have the ability to redeem him. If they give you the opportunity to redeem John Doe in some way, so that he doesn't become the Joker, I would love for them to find a way to redeem Harvey so that he's not full-fledged Two-Face. So that's how I think he should be introduced. Have you ever seen the YouTube channel Amuleto? It's a channel that tells some very deep stories and always have a message to go along with them. I recommend checking it out if you haven't. They have some good stories. Oh, Amuleto. Thank you. I will check that out, Evan. Amuleto name makes me want to make eggs. I haven't seen anything for the game yet, but how's the second South Park game? I enjoy it a lot. I think that the Fractured But Whole game compared to Stick of Truth, they definitely made a lot of improvements on the combat system, which I like. They made a lot of improvements on the level up system and how you build your character as you level up. I love that a lot. I think that the story was better in the first one, way better in the first one. The story I kind of like was kind of losing me very quickly near the end. And I think my biggest complaint about the game in general is that they use a lot of farting jokes. You know, the bathroom humor for me has never been funny. I've never understood what makes bathroom humor funny, and the fact that it is so gratuitous in the game is very off-putting and doesn't make it fun, because I think it takes away from the other parts of the game that are good. I think the farting jokes takes away from the rest of the game, which actually is good and decent and fun. So that's my biggest issue. It's no surprise that the Coon / Cartman annoys the snot out of me in a bad way. I don't even like to hate the Coon. I hate to hate the Coon, which is a bad thing. But I mean, that's just the way that he's written. It's not necessarily because of the game itself. They're being very true to the Coon's character and Cartman's character. And that is pretty frustrating when I'm playing the game, because it is the least fun, is interacting with Cartman or the Coon. But it's still, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game a lot, but it definitely has its shortcomings, and overall I think I do like the first one's story more. But in terms of combat, I do like the second one a lot more. Have you watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series? I actually haven't, but I'd like to. That is one of those to-do list, bucket lists, TV shows that I never had a chance to check out, but I'd like to. What is your opinion of Death Maul? I didn't watch the animated series, so I don't really have an opinion, unfortunately. How are the top 10 lists for 10,000 subs coming along? Very slowly. Editing those top 10 lists takes a lot of extra time. So I try to make one once a month, but it might slip a little bit, and it might end up being a little less than once a month. My hope is to get it done in a year, to get all 10 of the videos done in 1 year. I'm going to try my best to do that. It's just, it takes a lot more effort and a lot more time than editing, say, regular video game Let's Play. But thank you for asking. Thanks, Harkin, everyone. I wish I didn't come so late. No problem, Dreams and Nightmares. Welcome to the live stream again, and hope you guys can join us next time. It'd be cool to go back to Canada as DLC, but I don't know if that'll happen. I assume you haven't been caught up in the season, but in the new season, Canada, oh no, got nuked by, oh my goodness. Well, that's not good. I love Canada. That's not cool. I love the Craig Tweak battle banter in the game. So adorable. I'm gonna have to watch more of that, because I actually didn't put Craig and Tweak in combat as often as I probably should. But I heard that their banter is very cute. And I kind of like that South Park added that relationship in their show. I think that's very, very cool of them. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for asking all your questions, and thank you so much for hanging out with me during this Let's Play. Special thank you to Dreams and Nightmares, Kunpeito Kiss, Quirky Author, Ray's Rain, Shide, and The Avenger for sticking with me till the very end. You did not have to do that, of course. And I hope that those of you who are watching enjoyed the episode of Batman the Enemy Within. I'm looking forward to the finale and seeing how this all wraps up, and we'll see what goes on with John Doe at the very end. So, thank you guys again, and until then, love yourselves and love each other. Bye.